Paris, and I would like you to help me to greet the Mistress of Ceremonies for the evening, Dr. Carol Zippert, member of the Board of Directors of the Federation of Greene County Employees Federal Credit Union in Utah, Alabama.
Thank you, Alice. Good evening, good evening, good evening, my brothers and sisters. Y'all may as well come on in and have your seat because you know Alice is going to start on time. And I told her, wait on the folk, Alice. She said, nope. They'll come in when they hear us talking. I welcome you to the 48th annual membership meeting of the Federation of Southern Cooperatives, and every time we come together, I feel like it's the first time because the excitement is there, just the being with family, the sense of reunion, and I know I'm not just talking to myself, y'all. Okay? If you feel the family reunion, let me know. All right? Okay. Okay, we're going to get off to a good start after all. At this time, I'm going to ask the Reverend George Graham, who is manager of Rankin County Farmers Association, to come and lead us in the Black National Anthem, the All People's National Anthem. The words will be shown on the screen.
Good evening. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Meaning us all. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our Father sighed. We have come over a way that with tears have been living water. We have come, treading our path through the blood of the slaughter, out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, God, where we meet Thee. Lest our hearts drink with the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadowed beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land. The Bible says, if you having this world's goods, and see that your brother hath need of them, yet shut up your bowels of compassion for him, how dwelleth the love of God in you? That is the cooperative spirit. That is the cooperative spirit. God bless you. You may be seated.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Graham, and that special song, which really tells the story of how we made it over and how we still have to continue making it over. At this time, I will ask Ms. Shirley Blakely, who is the chair of the board of the Federation of Southern Cooperatives. She is the first female chairperson of the board, and I'm glad we did it before we made 50.
Thank you, Karen. Good evening once again, good evening. I stand here to offer you words of welcome to our annual meeting once again. And as stated earlier, it's truly a blessing for us to meet once again, the family of the Federation. On behalf of our Executive Director, Mr. Cornelius Blanding, we welcome you. We welcome your guidance. We welcome your continued support. We welcome you for the next 2 days as we venture to Epps, where our training center is, where workshops and further networking and much information will be given. This is a time that we set aside for all of us to come and share and learn, and just to continue with the struggle of landowners, farmers, to help them further with their endeavors in this world of farming. We welcome you to just be a part of this organization further. We welcome you to be with us as we continue with this struggle. You know, it takes all of us. It takes all of us in this, and we are so glad that you are here to help the Federation of Southern Cooperatives. So on the behalf of our organization, we thank you, we love you, and we continue to solicit your support. Again, you are welcome.
Thank you, Sister Blakely. You know, we have friends who've been with us a long time, and we have friends who are newer to us, but they're all friends. And we're going to call them up to come and bring greetings. You know, this is the 48th celebration of the Federation of Southern Cooperatives. That's pretty good. We will ask Mr. Charles Long, who is representing Mayor Bell's office and the city of Birmingham, our host city this evening, to come and bring greetings. And we will ask U.S. Congresswoman Terry Sewell of the 7th Congressional District, or maybe there's a representative from her office. And we will ask the Mr. Michael Reed, representing the Honorable Sanford Bishop, U.S. Congressman representing Georgia's 2nd District, Middle and Southwest Georgia. We will ask the Honorable Hank Sanders, Alabama State Senator, representing the 23rd District in West Alabama, but that's not right. He represents all of Alabama, and probably the South and the nation too. The Honorable Bobby Singleton, Alabama State Senator, representing the 24th District in West Alabama. Doug O'Brien, White House Rural Policy Council. William Nelson, the CHS Foundation. Charles Snyder, National Cooperative Bank. Michael Toll, I probably mess up your name and I apologize, but you can straighten me up. Nationwide Mutual Insurance. So if you will find your way, if you get lost, I'll call your name again. Thank you. Mr. Charles Long.
Thank you and good evening. Oh, come on now. Y'all can do better than that. I've been here before. Good evening. That's what I'm talking about. This is the Federation of Southern Cooperatives, right? Okay, all right. I know about y'all. Yes, my name is Charles Long, and it is my privilege and pleasure to be here on behalf of Birmingham's Mayor, William Bell. I'd like to say, first of all, thank you guys. I know this is the 48th anniversary, and I think it's the 14th time you've been here in Birmingham, so welcome back home. Now, I'm not as young as I used to be, so house lights need to come up just a tad bit. I have a proclamation that I'm going to present at this time, and my eyes would like just a tad bit more light to facilitate this task, if you will. The proclamation reads, whereas for 48 years, the Federation of Southern Cooperatives Land Assistance Fund, the national premier African-American organization, has assisted small farmers and rural people to build sustainable communities by promoting social and economic equality through public policy, advocacy, leadership, and cooperative development. And whereas the Federation honors civil rights veterans, Reverend Charles Sherrod and Mrs. Shirley Sherrod. They worked tirelessly for civil rights, human rights, black land retention, and economically underserved landowners, community involvement, community empowerment, and the economic development throughout the rural South. Their extraordinary work has spanned more than 4 decades. That's a long time, y'all. And whereas Charles Sherrod was a civil rights worker with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, who headed the Abernathy movement in Georgia in the 1960s. He's featured in the civil rights documentary Eyes on the Prize, which ran on public television nationwide. He met his wife, Shirley, from Southwest Georgia during the movement. Along with others in the Abernathy era, the Sherrods developed the first rural land trust in the nation. New Communities in 1970 that purchased and operated 6,000 acres in southwest Georgia. And whereas Shirley Sherrod worked for the Federation for more than 20 years, developing a nationally recognized agricultural outreach program in southwest Georgia, she left the Federation staff to become the first Black USDA Rural Development State Director in Georgia in 2009, at the beginning of the new Obama administration. She was wrongly dismissed based on the misunderstanding of a speech she gave to the NAACP in Georgia. An assistant she provided to assistance she provided to a white farmer when she was working for the Federation. This controversy and its aftermath were well covered by the media. The Obama administration apologized to her and offered her a full-time, high-level internal advocacy position with the USDA, which she ultimately declined. And whereas the City of Birmingham congratulates the Federation of Southern Cooperatives Land Assistance Fund on its 48th anniversary, as well as the 14th Estelle Witherspoon Lifetime Achievement Award honorees. Now, therefore, I, William A. Bell, Sr., Mayor of the City of Birmingham, Alabama, do hereby issue this proclamation in honor of the recognition of Reverend Charles and Mrs. Shirley Sherrod, and encourage all of the citizens of Birmingham to join and applaud the courageous celebration of these civil rights pioneers. Let's give them a hand, please.
The person representing Nationwide Mutual Insurance to bring us greetings is Mr. Sparky Wilnow, Nationwide.
Well, good evening. Whoa, got to stand back. Well, Nationwide is pleased to support your 48th annual celebration and the recognition of the Estelle Witherspoon Achievement Award recipients, Charles and Shirley Sherrod. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Ralph Page and his lovely wife, Bernice, on his retirement after 30 years as Executive Director of the Federation. We appreciate your many years of service, fellowship, and friendship at the Nationwide Board of Directors too, Ralph. I'd like to also congratulate Executive Director Cornelius Blanding and his entire board and staff of the Federation. Their dedication, along with the leaders and staff from over 48 years, has proven vital services and support to your members across the rural South. Many people don't realize that Nationwide had a humble start with a group of Ohio farmers. Nationwide has also become a Fortune 100 company, and we remain dedicated to our rural agricultural heritage. The majority of Nationwide's board of directors are farmers, and we're the #1 agricultural insurer in the United States. Nationwide is a mutual and is focused on our members. Like a co-op, our members come first in everything that we do. And I invite you to see how Nationwide Insurance can help protect what's most important. Because we are a mutual company, we answer only to our valued members, not to shareholders. We share your cooperative spirit and mindset. It's at our very core. So on behalf of the Nationwide Board of Directors, our management, associates, and many Nationwide agents, we are proud to be a partner of the Federation and extremely pleased to share in this special celebration. And have a great evening.
Congresswoman Terry Sewell is not here, but she will be joining us this evening a little later. So we will continue with the other friends to bring us greetings. Mr. Michael Reed, representing the Honorable Sanford Bishop, U.S. Congressman, Representative, Georgia's 2nd District.
Good evening. I'm Michael Reed. I'm the Chief of Staff of Congressman Sanford Bishop's Congressional Office. And we want to thank you for inviting the Congressman to be here tonight. Unfortunately, he could not make it due to prior engagements, but he sends his heartfelt congratulations and greetings to all of you. It's a pleasure to be in a room with those who make America grow. The individuals who live and support rural America, and in particular, our agricultural community. And I tip my hat to each of you and say thank you for your support and service. I'd like to start this evening by thanking an old friend of our office and the Congressman, Ralph Page, the former executive director of the Federation of Southern Cooperatives. He and the Congressman go back a long ways. In fact, I want to say over 3 decades. However, the relationship with our office looks forward to continuing with your new executive director, Cornelius Blanding. I'm sure you've heard it many times already, Cornelius. You've got big shoes to fill, but we're confident that with the team around you, you'll do fine, and we wish you all the best. It's my understanding that there are some distinguished individuals here tonight. We've already heard that Congresswoman Sewell will be coming shortly. Additionally, I'd like to acknowledge Alabama's State Senator Hank Sanders and Bobby Singleton. Senator Hank Sanders and his wife Rose are friends of long standing of Congressman Bishop. And all three were civil rights lawyers at the NAACP Legal Defense Fund years ago. They get a great deal of credit for their work on behalf of black farmers, particularly during the Pigford case, which we worked on considerably. And the Congressman wants to give a special shout out to Bobby Singleton, who is the chair of Alabama's Legislative Black Caucus. Congressman Bishop wishes you the best. And he remembers the days when he was the chair of the Georgia Black Caucus during his tenure in the Georgia Assembly, and is now a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. Additionally, Mrs. Shirley Blakely, chairman of the Board of Directors of the Federation. And I'd also like to thank all the USDA representatives that are here tonight, especially Vernita Dorr, Deputy Undersecretary of Rural Development, and Robert Bonney, Undersecretary of Natural Resources and Environment, both at USDA. Additionally, let me take this opportunity to acknowledge the family of Mrs. Estelle Witherspoon, for whom tonight's Lifetime Achievement Award is actually named. Mrs. Witherspoon was an engine of empowerment and vitality in her community, an advocate for social rights, civil rights, and economic justice, and a role model for all of us. Lastly, we would also like to extend our sincerest congratulations to friends of long standing, Reverend Charles and Mrs. Shirley Sherrod. Yes, let's give them a hand. It is an honor, indeed an honor, that they're being awarded the 14th Estelle Witherspoon Lifetime Achievement Award. Reverend Sherrod was a critical link in the civil rights movement, having served as an integral part of SNCC, and we all know what SNCC was about and its contribution to the movement. And of course, Mrs. Sherrod, who was also an organizer with SNCC, but also served as a state lead for the Southern Rural Black Women's Initiative, served with the Federation of Southern Cooperatives as well as the Executive Director of Community Alliances of Interdependent Agriculture. That's a mouthful. And the Georgia State Director of Rural Development at USDA. And we all know about that. We'll hear about their impressive accomplishments in more depth later, but the Congressman does send his congratulations to both of you. Now, once somebody told me, and I think we're still on the same agenda, that they gave me a warning that when giving remarks before dinner, try not to get between the listeners and their dinner, because they might eat you. So we extend our hearty congratulations to the Federation tonight for your 48 tremendous years of service. Since its founding, the Federation has had an enormous impact on helping low-income rural communities in the South. Tonight, we salute each of you for all that the Federation has accomplished, from developing cooperatives and credit unions, assisting minority farmers, to serve these communities, improve the quality of life of the residents in those communities for over 48 years. They even helped start a young lawyer named Sanford Bishop out 40 years ago when he was straight out of law school and wanted to start up a law practice in Southwest Georgia, and gave him his first loan to start his law firm. Your endurance and determination in assisting Southern rural communities with these enterprises serve as sources of inspiration to those you empower and those who follow you in your path. You're still standing strong? Okay. And on that note, thank you. Good night.
Okay, that's good. It's good when friends understand sign language. Senator Hank Sanders, our spiritual leader.
Good evening, my brothers and sisters. That certainly includes everybody, but I want to especially recognize all of the leaders of the Federation, particularly Cornelius, since he's starting out in that position. I want to acknowledge Charles and Shirley, who are the awardees on this great occasion. And I want to acknowledge all leaders of whatever stripe, because leadership is not easy. Holding positions is easy, but leadership is not easy. So I want to acknowledge all the leaders. I greet you tonight in the spirit of history. The Federation has 48 years of history, and that's a long time, and I greet you in that spirit. But I also greet you in the spirit of new beginnings for the Federation, because the Federation has new leaders in several key positions, and you don't have to start over to have a new beginning. And so I greet you in that spirit. I want to greet you in the spirit of tough times. My mother had 13 children, and she had a lot of hard times, but when times got really hard, we had one chair in the house, and she'd sit in that one chair and make us sit down on the floor. And what she would do is say, children, things are always kind of bad with this Big Po family. She said, but they are real bad now. And then she'd go silent for a moment. And then she'd say, but don't y'all worry, because I'm at my best when things get bad. And that was just a powerful moment. So I greet you in the spirit of Ola Mae Sanders for us being at our best when things get bad. I greet you in the spirit of building foundations. And foundations are so important because they allow us to stand on them and reach higher and see further. Sometimes we think that we're reaching further because our arms are longer. We are seeing further because we are taller some kind of way. But we are standing on that foundation. And the Federation is a very powerful foundation that all of us can stand on. And finally, I want to greet you in the spirit of good times and tough times. The Federation has had its share of tough times. It has had to withstand attacks from the outside and struggles from the inside. But the Federation is still standing strong and still being tough. And I greet you in the spirit of good times, because the Federation has had many good times, and the Federation will have many more good times. Thank you.
Good evening. It's just kind of hard to become behind Hank Sanders. I greet you in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Let me just say to you, the Federation of Southern Cooperatives for your 48 years has been an integral part of my life that gave me a start, a young boy out of Greensboro, Alabama, coming out of Alabama State University, a start to become a man. I want to give greetings to the Honorable Andrew Young, the Mayor of Atlanta, the Ambassador of the United States of America. He's sitting right here. You know, Hank, you always talk about your mother. And she was a wise woman, because I think I've heard every time you've said something, because you bring that spirituality to us, not only in these settings, but he brings it to us every day in the legislature. And it is always fulfilling, and it's always something that you can carry with you. But I want to say that Cornelius Blanding is following behind a great man, Ralph Page, who have carried this organization for years and years and years, through all its good times and bad times. But I can remember, Hank, my old granddaddy, who had a 7th grade education. And I used to say, Granddad, I want to be just like you. He said, no, son, you don't want to walk in my footsteps. You want to make your own footprints in the sand. I say to you tonight, Cornelius, while Ralph have built a great legacy, build on the legacy that Ralph has given and left to you, but be able to make your own footsteps in the sands. Because you probably can't wear Ralph's shoes anyway. So I remember Cornelius coming to me. I had an office here in Birmingham, Alabama. I was working for an organization called Community Resource Group, which developed water systems in rural communities. John Zippert had introduced me to a gentleman by the name of John Squires, who hired me to come to Arkansas and help build water systems across rural communities. When Cornelius came to me fresh out of Florida, we had known each other for a few years. He said, Bob, man, I need a job. And he started talking about all the things that he wanted to do. And I said, I know a perfect fit for you. I think we need to go and talk to some people at the Federation of Southern Cooperatives. And look at him now. He's the new executive director. 17 years ago. And I'm so proud of that young man. And I pledge to be there with him step by step to help this organization to continue to flourish in any way and manner that we can. Because I know that the Federation is worth saving. The Federation is worth being here. Because I talked to some young men about 2 days ago who came to me with that rap and was telling me about farm products and how they want to be able to do some cooperatives, and this is some of the first time that black people would have been able to do that. And I stopped and I said, oh, young man, have you ever heard of the Federation? Because what you're talking about ain't new. They've been doing that for 48 years. You need to let me introduce you to the Federation of Southern Cooperatives with all of that new spirit that you have. So what we have to do is continue to recruit these young spirits, because the world of technology has taken over. I saw people now growing plants through the internet. They're being able to touch a computer and the tractor will go by itself. Water system comes on by itself. So we got to get into that new age. And we want to take the Federation to that higher heights so that we can continue to feed families and don't forget our mission. So thank you very much, Ralph, for the years that you served. And we look forward to you, Cornelius, for the years that you are going to serve. Thank you very, very much.
Mr. Doug O'Brien, White House Rural Policy Council, Mr. William Nelson, CHS Foundation, Mr. Charles Snyder, National Cooperative Bank.
Thank you. It's so good to be back tonight. So much has been said that I won't say again, but I certainly share the spirit that's here. I do want to recognize and just again feel blessed to be in the same room with Ambassador Young again tonight. Chair William Blakely, the board, certainly deep congratulations to Shirley and Reverend. I got to serve with Shirley just a sliver on a board at the Farmers Legal Action Group, and saw just a sliver of the service that family has done for farmers in this part of the country. And so congratulations. It's an inspiration. It continues to be an inspiration. And Cornelius, I do want to say you become a good friend in just the few years that we've gotten to know each other. I look forward to the future of the Federation, and I think the theme that you've chosen this year, growing sustainable partnerships, it is so fitting. And echoing some of the comments that we just heard, the foundation, the relationships that are represented in this room right now that really make the Federation what it is, those cooperatives that are the families, those relationships are strong. And for the Federation to meet its mission, we need to help and to nurture and to grow and to sustain those relationships so that wealth can be created, so that incomes can be sought, so that families and children can rise. From my post at the White House and working on rural policy, I do want to, and you have it in your packet, and I'll just read a short excerpt from President Obama, and this is the letter in your packet. I'm delighted to join in congratulating the Federation of Southern Cooperative Land Assistance Fund on its 48th anniversary. For nearly half a century, the Federation has helped expand economic opportunities in low-income communities and support rural Americans, including minorities, through land retention and the use of cooperatives. Thanks to your organization's efforts, countless families are able to realize their full potential and achieve their piece of the American dream. So, signed, President Barack Obama. Congratulations on 48 years, and we look forward, as in this administration for 17 more months, to being sustained partners in your mission to help lift up families in this part of rural America. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is William Nelson. I'm president of the CHS Foundation and vice president for corporate citizenship for CHS. If you're not familiar with CHS, we're a farmer-owned cooperative, been around almost 80 years, based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. We're owned by 600,000 farmers and ranchers. We, too, would like to add our compliments to not only Ralph and the board and the staff, but also to Cornelius. I would like to just add kind of a personal note. I've gotten to know Cornelius over the years through a number of ways, including service on the Ag Safety and Health Council of America, which is an initiative to help ensure the safety of young people and adults in agriculture. We, in our stewardship efforts at CHS, we're focused on ag leadership, including education on cooperatives, ag health and safety, and rural communities. I've also had the honor of serving with Cornelius over the last 5 years as the co-chair for the roundtable. Cornelius had other duties today, so John Zippert and I had the honor of facilitating the meeting, and you maybe won't notice it right away, but I think what we've seen through that roundtable will have a long-term effect. One, for example, is a few years ago when we started, we talked about how can we do mentoring and working with the next generation. Tonight we have 2 students from Tuskegee University who did internships. Would you 2 guys stand over there? Let's give them a round. They were the first of what I think will be a long line and lineage of young people coming into entities like the Federation, as well as education about cooperatives. From a CHS point of view and the Federation, we've also been very pleased to work with Dean Walter Hill and his colleagues at Tuskegee in developing a cooperative curriculum. And again, this is an initiative that Cornelius and his staff have gotten involved with. The other point I would just like to make is when you do take out your programs, which are in those very nice NCB bags, on the back page there's a list of sponsors, and I don't know how this corresponds to other years, but I do know from visiting with Cornelius and Ebony and the staff as the sponsorships were being developed, there was just a very strong, enthusiastic effort to contribute. They're up, and they're, if I may just say on behalf of the other foundations like the Cooperative Foundation, Progressive Ag Foundation, Co-op Development Foundation, how pleased we are to be here. And then our colleagues in Farm Credit and CoBank and NCB from the business community, from NCBA, Mike Bell, CEO, is here. But there are a lot of us out there who absolutely believe in what the Federation is doing, and we're very excited about the future. I would encourage you to take a look at that, and one of the things that I think we're all committed to is what can we do to be partners looking at down the road. Nationwide, you've heard from already, an absolutely critical partner. And what we're all coming at is the same thing. We absolutely believe in the cooperative business model, and that's what brings us together here with our friends and colleagues from the Federation. Thank you.
Good evening. To Cornelius, the Federation Board, and all the invited guests here, and on behalf of Charles E. Snyder, or Chuck, as many of you know him, and my colleagues at the National Cooperative Bank, R.L. Condra being one who's here with me tonight. I bring greetings. And I think that after the roundtable today and looking across this room tonight, that the growing sustainable partnerships is right in line with what the future of this organization is. And NCB, or the National Cooperative Bank, has been a proud partner, and we look forward to being a partner for the next 48 years. So thank you so much.
We thank all of our friends who greeted us. At this time, I would like to bring forward Mr. Robert Bonney, the Undersecretary for Natural Resources and Environment at USDA, who will bring us some special remarks.
It's an honor to be with you all this evening. Cornelius, thank you for the invitation. To the Sherrods, thank you for your service to this cause. And to Ambassador Young, it's an honor to be in the same room with you, and thank you for your service. For nearly 50 years, this organization has been dedicated to improving rural communities, to providing economic opportunities for low-income landowners, particularly African-American landowners, to reducing land loss in the African-American community, and to assisting and empowering low-income people. That's a mission which is important to all Americans. And I hope you also know that your mission is important to President Obama and Secretary Vilsack. When the Secretary came into office in 2009, at the direction of the President, he placed a very high priority on building a new era for civil rights at USDA. I don't need to tell anyone in this room that USDA had work to address the past claims of discrimination. The Secretary was also interested in ensuring that going forward, all our employees and our customers, that's you, are treated fairly no matter their race, color, gender, sexual orientation, national origin, religion, disability, or age. I think the Secretary's record over the last 6.5 years speaks for itself, but here I want to highlight some important accomplishments. The Secretary worked hard with the Department of Justice to announce a new Pig for Two settlement, as well as settlements for Native American farmers, Hispanic, and women farmers. He instituted civil rights training across the department, and particularly in states with a history of problems. As a result, we've seen civil rights complaints drop to the lowest number since USDA began keeping track. The Secretary empowered the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights to develop a better and faster complaints process. In recognizing that 85% of America's poorest counties are in rural areas, he established our Strike Force initiative to target resources to these counties. USDA has partnered with almost 500 community and faith-based organizations, businesses, foundations, universities, and others on over 100,000 projects, delivering billions of dollars in resources to rural communities. And these are just a few examples. But let me give you a few as well of the agencies I oversee, the U.S. Forest Service and the Natural Resources Conservation Service. Civil rights, diversity, inclusion matter a great deal to our conservation mission at the department. Aldo Leopold, the father of conservation in the United States, said there are two things that interest me: the relation of people to each other and the relation of people to the land. Conservation of our natural resources is as much about people as it is about the land. So we have to make sure we get the people part right. All people. And one of the hallmarks of the Obama administration has been an understanding that we can't separate people from the environment or from conservation. Let me give you one example of how the President connects people and conservation. The President has done a great deal to protect natural areas, such as establishing national monuments like Berryessa in California or Browns Canyon in Colorado. But the President has also established the Harriet Tubman National Monument in Maryland, a place that honors Civil War hero and chief conductor of the Underground Railroad. The President has established the Pullman National Monument, a place that honors the workers that formed the first union of African American workers to improve their working conditions. Again, conservation is about people as much as it's about land. And so for the Forest Service and the Natural Resources Conservation Service, we can only accomplish our mission if we get the people part of the equation right. And civil rights and diversity are critical to that equation. For example, in the Forest Service, we've elevated and strengthened our civil rights staff. We've revised and strengthened our sexual harassment policies. We've strengthened our civil rights training for managers and employees. We've strengthened our outreach to ensure that our resource advisory committees and federal advisory committees are diverse. The Forest Service is hiring a more diverse workforce. Nearly 19% are now minority, and minorities make up 44% of our senior executive service. And as a result of this proactive approach, we've seen significant decreases in allegations of discrimination. Likewise, NRCS is taking a proactive approach as well. The agency is actively promoting outreach strategies to remove barriers for groups that have traditionally had low participation rates in our programs. For example, NRCS has signed several cooperative agreements with tribes in order to facilitate better conservation on tribal lands. One of the areas we're particularly proud of is our partnership with the Federation to improve outreach to historically underserved communities, particularly in the Southeast. Together, we're providing valuable information on new agricultural technologies and practices and improving trust and relationships so that we can better deliver technical and financial assistance. NRCS is also looking for opportunities to partner in urban communities. Here, too, our partnership with the Federation is critical. Our work together on the Cleveland, Ohio Seasonal High Tunnel Project is providing NRCS resources to urban farmers, expanding access to affordable, fresh, and local food in urban communities, and stimulating economic development. There's more going on with both agencies, but I think you get the idea. And as you look at USDA and the Forest Service and NRCS, I hope that you will take some measure of comfort from these initiatives. But I hope even more that you will take some credit for them. You all have been at this since 1967, and your efforts, I hope you all agree, are paying off. But as you know, we're not done. I had a reverend in high school, and he would always say that he was always thankful but never satisfied. And I suspect that's how many of you feel. And I think the President and the Secretary probably feel the same way. I don't know if you all have been watching the President, but I'm not sure he's very good at this whole lame duck thing. The President said last November that we are entering the fourth quarter, and really important things happen in the fourth quarter. So we've got more work to do. And one of the issues that I know is most important to you is making sure that African American families can continue to own farms, ranches, can continue to practice forestry on their family lands. And as America becomes more and more diverse, we need diverse landowners. We need African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, and others to maintain their connection to the land. It's important both for conserving rural lands, but also in ensuring that conservation remains important to all Americans. Again, it's about both people and natural resources. The Secretary has become particularly interested in looking in the questions of land tenure. With an aging population of farmers, ranchers, and forest owners, it's vital that we understand how we maintain our working lands for the benefit of families and for the benefit of conservation of our natural resources. Cornelius has provided very valuable insight to the Beginning Farmer and Rancher Advisory Committee on issues related to land tenure. There's more we can do to address this issue, and the Federation has a critical role to play. Both NRCS and Forest Service are also looking at ways that we can use our programs to conserve African American family lands for the benefit of those families and natural resources. In particular, our hope is to address issues related to heirs' properties so that families can get clear title to their lands, maintain those lands as a source of revenue and family pride for generations to come. Let me point out one project we're working with many of you in South Carolina, a project that began in 2013 with the Center for Air Property Preservation, with the U.S. Endowment, Forest Service, NRCS, and many others. In just 2 years, that project has 40 families who have new forest management plans that didn't have them before, 71 families that have applied for NRCS conservation funding, 49 families who have received almost $400,000 in that conservation funding. 6 families have begun forest management operations and have earned over $300,000 in returns. 35 families have applied to become South Carolina tree farmers, and 2 families have permanently protected their land through conservation easements. And there's more work going on here with the Federation in Alabama and other places to take this model and to make it happen elsewhere. This issue of conserving African American family lands is one that is of great interest to us at USDA. It brings so many issues together for us that we care about. It delivers on the promise of making sure that USDA programs are available to everyone. It allows USDA to make further progress on righting past discrimination in the administration of our programs. And in alignment with our Strike Force initiative, it allows us to deliver programs to low-income areas where they are most needed. So my message to you tonight is that we've made great progress, but there's a lot of work left to be done, particularly when it comes to working with the Federation and many others to address the loss of African American family lands. We look forward to working with all of you to address this issue so that we can improve lives, provide opportunities for families, all the while protecting our natural resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to just take a moment to acknowledge a group that has shared their creativity with us for many years at this function, and that's the Jazz Safari. Mr. Jeff Drew is the director, and they will be playing for us during dinner. At this time, we will have a 2-minute video presentation on the Federation, and I'd like to note that the Freedom Singers of Albany, Georgia will be featured. Mr. Charles Sherrod was part of that group for a very long time.
I woke up this morning and my mind was set on freedom.
Took your life in your hands when you went anywhere, particularly if you were going somewhere talking about freedom and independence and cooperative farming.
The beatings, burnings, and lynchings are stamped forever on those who survive.
The Federation emerged in 1967 directly out of the civil rights movement.
Once we had supposedly the acknowledgement of our rights, it was incumbent upon us to live through those rights.
We won't forget our struggles because we have each other.
The Federation is there with the people, accompanying the people.
We are bound to the land to give it care as we do one another.
We must not cut ourselves off from the land, urban and rural.
If you miss me from the back of the bus, and you can't find me nowhere, come on up to the front of the bus, and I'll be riding up there. I'll be riding up there. I'll be riding up there. Come on up to the front of the bus, and I'll be riding up there.
Is if things are hard, look like we get better and we go stronger.
We will rebuild and it will be strong.
So we decided in our communities that we were going to pool resources and build enterprises.
We will gather our strength by embracing our faith, and our voices will be heard in all we create.
Federation has been the godsend for empowering our people.
Thank you.